Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Alex Dworkin, and I'm a managing partner at 4D Capital. At 4D Capital, we specialize in a very unique mathematical approach to the stock market, where we analyze the market and individual stocks in multidimensional space. And when we do, essentially perfect order emerges. On top of that, we've developed a number of very powerful timing indicators, and when we combine both, we can very often predict with exact accuracy exactly what the overall stock market or individual stocks will do going forward in both price and time. Now, why am I telling you this? Because we can use the same math in order to predict geopolitical events. And one geopolitical event in particular should be catching everyone's attention, and the purpose of this broadcast is to essentially bring attention to this upcoming event and to warn people and to allow them to prepare, okay? So what you see on the screen in front of you is our projection. This is the book that we updated a couple of days ago. The original book we wrote back in 2014, and if you look at it today, which you can do if you get this book, it has been prophetic, because back in 2014, even before the Ukrainian revolution occurred, we talked about the fact that there's going to be a significant war in 2028, 29 timeframe between Russia and China alliance and NATO members. And everything we talked about in that book has essentially become true. And as you can see from current events, we are speeding towards that particular outcome as we speak. Okay? So, according to our calculations, there's going to be a nuclear exchange, and there should be a difference between World War III and the nuclear exchange. We personally believe that World War III has already started. Okay, it's just being played out in different formats around the world, with the most important one currently being Ukraine versus Russia, or as I call it, a proxy war of NATO versus Russia. Okay, so that's the kinetic war. That's the most important one. Everything else is in different stages of being a conflict. Okay, one is in economic, other in Cold War kind of a format, but nevertheless, World War III has already started. What we're talking about here is the nuclear exchange. This is very important, nuclear exchange between Russia and China alliance and NATO members. And this particular nuclear exchange, according to our calculations, will happen in the summer of 2029. And when it does, it will completely annihilate the Northern Hemisphere as we know it today. There's going to be very few survivors, and the planet that we're living on, unfortunately, is going to suffer tremendously, and whoever's left alive is going to have a very, very difficult life going forward. So once again, the purpose of this broadcast is to look at the current events, bring you into that date, as well as give you the tools that you need to have and the ability that you need to have in order to survive and make sure your family survives, not only survives, but thrives during that period of time. And this is what this book is all about. It is about giving you guidance in order to do that. Okay, so we'll be talking about it, all of those facts in later broadcasts, but for the time being, this is what you need to know. This nuclear exchange is coming down the pipeline summer of 2029, and in the description of this video, I have two very important videos describing two very important cycles. One is an 84-year war cycle that has to do with the United States, and the other one is the stock market cycles, and they all come together in that time frame. That's why we can say with certainty that's going to be the outcome of that particular juncture, and that's going to be a complete disaster for everybody involved. Okay, so let's look at what's going on today. Just go over the topics or headlines very quickly. It's a clown show out there, as you very well know. It's crazy, you know. It's getting crazier with every single day. So as you can see, U.S. is poised to strike military target in Venezuela, and we're getting a bunch of articles confirming the same. So U.S. poised to strike military targets in Venezuela in escalation against Maduro. Same thing. There are numerous sources coming out. I wonder if the pizza sales are going up around Pentagon today. It probably is. It's going to be a good indicator whether or not they're going to strike Venezuela this weekend. I thought they might do it last weekend, but apparently not. So we rolling into the weekend. The markets are about to get to close. So what they want a very powerful, successful, a very quick strike against Venezuela that's going to lead to a regime change. We talked about that before, but according to our analysis, that's might not happen. Okay, so same thing. Oil spikes on reports that U.S. military might deliver a strike against Venezuelan targets. So this is the play. Okay, Trump, without any filters. Trump, the U.S. administration, Rubio, who is the worst State Department head of the State Department, want a regime change in Venezuela, and by default they want the oil that is in Venezuela, and they believe that a strike at this point in time is a quick strike, powerful strike against Venezuela at this point in time will lead to an over-weekend victory where Maduro flees, the government falls, they replace it with that woman that just won the Nobel Prize, and that's going to be the end of it. Trump can come out on Monday and say that he defeated Venezuela in one day. He had a wonderful, successful, the best of the best, incredible military campaign, and that's going to be the end of that. The market shoot up, oil goes down, and that's going to be the end of it. Okay, so that's what those idiots are thinking. Okay, but as we talked about over the last couple of days, I think that's going to be a much more difficult battle to win. We know that Russia is supplying anti-aircraft missiles to Venezuela. We know that there's Maduro has people rallying against him. He's in hiding at this point in time. So if this plan goes to shit, so to speak, which is quite possible, I would say the probability of that happening is at over 75%, where the other 25% perhaps Trump being successful in this particular endeavor, then U.S. is going to find itself in a really drawn out war that it has no business fighting at this point in time, and it's going to be an absolute disaster for the United States and for for the world as a whole. I mean, there's the Trump administration is labeling Venezuela as a terrorist state, equal to Al Qaeda. This is absolutely no truth. They try to relate to drug traffickers. That didn't work. Now they're saying that Venezuela is Al Qaeda of the South America. All of that nonsense. Venezuela has done absolutely nothing to the United States. Anyone with two brain cells to rub together, so to speak, knows that it is all about oil. It is all about regime change, and it is all about very quick victory for the Trump administration, where he can come out and says, okay, I defeated Venezuela in one day. Okay, this is what this is all about, and it is a crime. It is a war racket for the Trump administration and the industrial military complex, and it's just bad. It's just really, really bad politics. It does absolutely nothing for the United States. Even if we get the oil, we have our own oil, plenty of it, but as a matter of fact. So it's going to be a disaster when things go sideways, which I believe they will do over the next, hopefully, once again, I said it before and I'll say it again. Hopefully this is all posturing and nothing will come out of it, but if it does, it's going to be really bad for the United States. Okay, so now let's move on to China. This look says it all. As you can see, Trump and he meet face to face, shaking hands. It's a very difficult situation. Trump came out and tried to put a lipstick on this pig. But if you've dealt with Chinese before, you know that saving face, not saving face, but respect is very important for them. And what Trump has done since beginning his administration is essentially economic warfare against China, direct economic warfare against China. And now Trump is coming out and saying, oh yeah, they're going to buy our soybeans and they're going to do this and that, in response, of course, to China putting limits on rare earth metals coming out of China and going towards the United States, which impacts the United States in many different respects, not only in terms of IT and the technology sector, but also in terms of being able to build munitions and being able to be war ready, particularly when they're getting ready to go against China and Russia. So this is a big deal. Basically, this look says it all. Trump tried to suck up to he, and he was completely unimpressed. because he knows exactly what's going on. He knows exactly what's going on in terms of Venezuela. He knows exactly what's going on in terms of the war in Ukraine with Russia and NATO. And he knows that they're next in line after, if, that's a big if, right? If the United States is able to defeat Russia in Ukraine and break that country apart, which is the primary objective. This is something we talk about all the time, right? So China is not budging. China has aligned itself directly with Russia. That relationship is going to continue to increase. There's absolutely nothing that Trump will do going forward that China is going to be, how should I put it, relying on to be good for China. And that in itself is bad, because the economic warfare that we've seen, the tariffs that we've seen, completely unnecessary by any measure, will continue to get worse. And the fact that you didn't see anything magnificent, as Trump would put it, amazing deal of the century coming out of it, is because that's the response he got from China. Okay. And what you can expect going forward is Trump is either going to ease up on China a little bit and let it go away, at least for the time being, or things will escalate again in relatively short order, just as we expect them to accelerate in terms of the Russian conflict. So let's shift gears into that. As you know, this is very important. The U.S. announced that it's going to begin to it's going to do a nuclear test. Okay, so that pulls out of the final treaty with Russia in terms of the nuclear weapon proliferation. We have no treaties left, and this is going to break a 33-year cycle of what that we were able to maintain and decrease the nuclear stockpiles, which was a wonderful deal signed between Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan, and that really brought the world closer to peace. Now they're going in the opposite direction. This is bringing us closer to war, and this is yet another marker for our overall forecast. All the stop signs, all the speed bumps that we had on the way to nuclear war are being removed, with this one being, I guess, one of the last ones that remains. So now there's nothing left between the United States and Russia. And if they begin to test nuclear weapons, that's going to be a big blow to the, not necessarily a final nail in the coffin of this whole situation, but this is going to be yet another indicator that we're moving towards a nuclear war between the United States, by default NATO, and Russia-China alliance. Okay, so this is something to look for. This is very bad news, and but I should say not necessarily unanticipated. Okay. So the situation on the front line is getting desperate for Ukraine. This is obviously not something you hear from the mainstream from the mainstream media. I try to stay away from exact details. I just kind of know it in broader strokes, and there are a lot of more people doing much more or much better analysis in terms of sharing exactly what's going on in the front lines. So I definitely would like to encourage you to check those out. But basically, what Russia did over the last couple of days is they surrounded two big cities. Poplovsk is being one of them, which was prior, essentially, main base for the Ukrainian army in Donetsk area. And the Russia is encouraging Western journalists they're ready to announce a ceasefire for the Western journalists to go in and see the situation on the ground, which is currently being rejected by the Zelensky regime. So he wants those soldiers destroyed. I'm not exactly sure. There are tens of thousands of soldiers within those captured areas that are about to get annihilated. And nobody talks about it. This is once again massive loss for Ukraine, but that's what we're talking about. I think there's going to be a Russian advance, quite significant Russian advance over the next couple of months, where they're going to be at Dnieper River across the entire line, and then they're going to let Ukraine decide whether or not they want to continue or they want to surrender. And in either case, they're probably going to be able to take the entire Ukraine if they want to. Now, the United States will look for escalation in terms of tomahawks in our December 13th time turning point, which is very important. I keep talking about December 13th. December 13th is very important because it directly relates to our 84-year cycle, a war cycle that we talk about. And Pearl Harbor in 1941, 84 years from that day, brings us into approximately December 13th, let's say plus or minus 2 weeks. Now the stock market is indicating that it's not set up yet, so we have a little bit of time. But when we get into that time frame, something very important, something very serious is going to happen. We theorize that perhaps there's going to be an attempt at a decapitation strike on Russia, which in my eyes would be absolute sheer insanity from the deep state and the Trump administration and NATO. But these people are war criminals. They're crazy. They know what they're doing, as is evident by what's going on in Venezuela. So I wouldn't put it past them, let's put it that way. But if that particular strike fails, and even if it succeeds, Russia is going to respond in a major way, perhaps directly against the United States. So that is something to watch for. That's going to be a very important time marker for our work, and something really, really bad is going to happen during that period of time. So nobody's talking about this. While there are analysts talking about these particular issues that I'm telling you about, and the fact that there's a possibility of something big happening, they're not paying attention to this very important, well, nobody has access to this very important time turning point that I just mentioned, December 13th. But yeah, so anyway, it's going to be a very important time marker, okay? So let's see what else. Or the Belgian defense minister promised to wipe out Moscow from the face of the earth. I mean, Belgium, come on. It's crazy talk, but that's what these people are thinking. They're on the direct path to war, and they're blinded by it, and they're gonna get their ass handed to them just like they always do when they attack Russia. So apparently these people have no history in their memory, so they're gonna learn one more time. But this time around, it's gonna be much worse, let's put it that way, particularly if our nuclear war forecast, nuclear exchange forecast is correct. Sure, there's going to be nothing left of Moscow, but there's going to be nothing left of Belgium as well. So just a clown show, a complete clown show, as you can see. So Trump urges Republicans to end Senate Democrat filibuster tactics. I would agree with that, at least, okay? So let's see what else. So sometimes the only winning move is not to play, says Michael Burry in Bubble Warning. So this article is basically, if you're not familiar, Michael Burry is the one who shorted the market, or shorted subprime lenders and CDOs there during the 2007, 2008, 2009 financial collapse. That's the short, the movie, I believe it's called. Where he made billions of dollars. So he's apparently a market oracle, at least according to some mainstream media outlets. And I would essentially agree with him on that. We are sitting in a major financial bubble. I talked about this particular chart many times before. This is all you need to know. We are in the most expensive market ever, higher than 1929, higher than 2000. I talked about this particular top in 2000. Earlier. Basically, if you actually count the PE ratio here was essentially distorted by quite a bit. I would say that the actual PE ratio should have been around 35, and the reason it was distorted at that time, because if you recall, there are quite a few companies within the S&P index that didn't have any earnings at all, those tech startups, etc. So if you adjust for that, the actual index was at approximately 35, if I remember correctly. Okay, so we are definitely above 1929. Definitely above 2000. 2007 is not even close, this one was 2007, 2732. So the multiple we're paying is just absolute sheer insanity. We are in the major tech bubble, AI bubble, everything bubble, whatever you want to call it. And of course the median is 15. So just to get to 15, in terms of valuation itself, we have to drop, the stock market has to drop over 60%. So be very, very careful here, and pay attention to this particular valuation level. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for your time. We have other updates coming up starting next week. We're going to improve our format a little bit better. We have financial analysis. We have this nuclear war updates and analysis on a daily basis, hopefully. We also have a free trial associated with our service, which is 30 days, no strings attached, no credit cards. Link is going to be in the description of this video. Just a wealth of information when it comes to the stock market, what the stock market is doing, what it's going to do, what the mega cap stocks are doing and going to do. We have super equities, we have fast movers, just a wealth of information. Once again, if you participate in financial markets in any capacity, you will find it very useful. Don't forget to subscribe. That's it. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.